This week on Supercars Talk, I go through the 2020 pit lane order, talk about some new numbers that some people have, and possibly get drunk trying a sponsor's product. So I've been threatening this for a while with a few sponsors. I've gone all out, bought myself a trial bottle of the Fireball cinnamon flavoured whiskey. I did actually buy this, that's why it's the little bottle. Next week I've got a proper bottle coming of another product to trial then. But I just wanted to show you, definitely this isn't a TV thing. There you go, there's the crack. Brand new bottle, so there we go, and I've got some ice there to try it. I'll just pour that out there, and we'll leave that a few minutes to cool down. It's cooler today, but it still is a little bit warm in Melbourne. Give it the sniff test. Ooh, you can actually smell the cinnamon on that. Nice. So before I try that and possibly end up flat on my face, I'm not a big drinker. We'll go through some of the news for this week. Interesting, BP is now going to be the fuel supplier for the Supercars Championship. I think it might still, it's like Race Fuels or someone that supplies the E85. I think it might still be coming from them, like with the previous kind of deal. So it is still E85. There has been some questions about that in the past. They are still running E85, no question. It'll be called BP though, instead of, I think the last couple of years it was called Shell, and before that it was United. A lot of people thought because United does sell E85 that when it went to Shell they went back to like a premium or whatever. It won't be, say, BP Ultimate. It is going to be an E85 blend. They're saying BP's developed one, I think. Yeah. And the Super Test is going to be called the BP Ultimate Super Test. So that's a real fancy name for the test day. And I thought we had heaps of time until the season started, but it's only a couple of weeks away. So that's kind of exciting. Now, Jamie Whincup, he's on the commission now, so Roland Dane's out of the commission, so Triple Eight don't, and Jamie Whincup's been inserted as the Triple Eight puppet, I imagine, on the commission. Let's not get into that, but he's come out and said, as a commission member, he is going to listen to everyone in pit lane, not just the commission members. Shouldn't they have been doing that anyway? Like, isn't that the idea of having, if not, why don't we go, Bernie Ecclestone Formula 1 days where you just have one dictator calling the shots. That was the idea of the commission, that, you have a few teams or whatever on board that, have the ideas, that all the teams can put ideas in and whatever, but, you have a few main guys kind of, on the board who, bring up the ideas, but it was more approachable than just, say, having a Bernie type figure making all the decisions, that you had, this group. Anyway, so at least they are going to listen to everybody, so that's a plus. Another from this week, GRM, Gary Rogers, they're not going to run a Super 2 program. That's not so interesting, except for the fact that they've said they're not going to run the Super 2 program because what's the point when they can't run new talent in the Super 2 program and then bring them into the main game? They did that once. I can only think of one guy that Gary Rogers ran in Super 2 and then brought through to the main game, which was James Goulding. Run through the history. The most competitive guy they probably had in Super 2 was Chris Pither, which that went nowhere. They had, they brought on Richie Stanaway instead. Kicked Garth out, brought on Richie because of sponsor. Pither still didn't get a shot because of that. More on that later. He could be popping up. Team Sydney, I'm hearing. But when you think, like, last year, Gary Rogers ran Dylan O'Keefe and Mason Barbera. They were there because they were paying for the seats. Like, yeah, there was no... So why not run guys this year that are paying for the seats? I think this is an easy way to say, oh, we haven't got anyone who's going to pay for the seats. So, yeah, that's it for this, that's it. So, no one with budget, we've got no cars out there. Simple as that. Just say it, Don't have to make up a story saying, oh, it's because we've got nowhere to... we've got nowhere for them to graduate to. Well, yeah, you didn't graduate them before. So, anyway, Gary Rogers was good at bringing through young talent. Just it wasn't coming from their Super 2 program, which they only ran the Super 2 program for the last few years, really. So, yeah, I shouldn't really knock them too much. Okay, before we get on to the main part of talk this week, we're going to actually trial the product. Which means that it does actually have a really nice cinnamon kind of smell to it. So let's hope the flavour's good. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's, it is spicy. That's good. Yeah, that's good drinking. And some scotches, when you have them straight, they're kind of thing. But, yeah, that's nice. I can see myself, maybe I should have bought a bigger bowl of this. Yeah, I'm on this fireball stuff. I like that. Okay, so this week, I'll go through the pit lane order first. We got the whiteboard. Hopefully that actually comes out on video and you can read it. So, the pit lane order goes in teams championship from the year before. So, and then when you have, say like Brad Jones Racing, where they have, that last year they had the 3 cars. So it goes on where you'd have 2 cars nominated for one team, and then the Macaulay Jones's car would have been a single car team. So what happened, or say Tickford's probably an easier one. They had 2 teams of 2 cars. Whichever one, I think it was Chaz and Lee Holdsworth. They came 3rd in the team's championship. So then automatically the rest of the team gets the spot next to them. So Penske won the team's championship, so they get the first slot on the order, and as we go down. Now, what's important about this, even though who cares what order they're in? Well, it does, strategy-wise, it does make a bit of a difference. So when they qualify and they all have to line up in the pit lane and then the lights go out and out they go. So if you're at the head of the queue, you get to go out first, so you're more likely to have a clear track on your qualifying lap, so that's a bonus. And then obviously when you're down the back, it's a lot harder to get in your clear lap because you've got a hell of a lot of cars in front of you. You've got a stack and you might have guys coming, past and that are the front guys and all sorts of, so that's the advantage in qualifying. And then in the race also, so if you're at the front, you run into the pits kind of thing. You don't have to worry about anyone kind of, coming out in front of you while you're running through the pit lane because, you run down to the end. Also, strategy-wise, if you want to undercut someone and you're first in line, so you're you can watch them finish their stop and you can watch them coming down the pit lane and then you go right, okay, they're nearly on us, go, drop the car, out you go and jump them in pit lane, even if, you're trying to fill a couple of seconds less. If you're, say, Erebus and you're trying to jump Scotty McLaughlin in the Penske one, and you go, all right, instead of putting in 20 seconds of fuel, we'll put in 18 seconds of fuel and we'll, jump him kind of thing in the pits. Well, the Penske guys will see that you've, dropped a little bit early and they can watch and then drop the car and off you go. So from a strategy thing, that's an advantage. So as I said, Penske starts number 1, pretty simple, 888, and then we got Tickford and Tickford. So we got Waters and LeBrock are in number 3. Which they've actually swapped around a bit last year because it was Chaz and Lee Holdsworth, I think, in that one. So Waters and LeBrock are essentially the lead guys. Holdsworth and Davison in the second one. We've got Erebus, Walkinshaw and Andretti, Brad Jones Racing, which will be Holdsworth and Nick Percat in the main one. And then Smith and Macaulay Jones get the second one. The Kellys, which when you look there, it's, you kind of, they didn't do so well last year when they're that far down. Team 18, which was a single car team last year, so not surprising they're down there at the back. They're two-car team obviously this year, Winterbottom and Pye. Matt Stone Racing, which I think ended up last year, although the Team Sydney things ended up at the back. But yeah, they're once again another two-car team, and Team Sydney, which is supposedly going to be two cars looking like Courtney and Chris Pither at the moment. We'll see whether that gets announced or not. There's only a couple of weeks before it needs to happen, people. Now, there's also been a couple of number changes for this year. So the big talking point is that Chaz Mostert's gone. The second Walkinshaw car has traditionally been 22. A couple of years ago, they ran 25 for the 25th anniversary of the Mobil 1 sponsorship deal. They've gone for 25 this year. Not sure why. It's currently entered in as Mobil 1 Racing. I still think we're going to see a tool company on the side of the car there. Bit of a change at Brad Jones Racing. The second, that 8th pit garage now will see cars 3 and 4. Macaulay Jones is going to go from that number 21 to number 3. Jack Smith is going to be number 4, which I believe that's what he's been running as a wild card previously. James Courtney is going to take number 19, with the second TBA Team Sydney car is going to take number 22. Not sure if that was, maybe they'd asked for that from Walkinshaw. I'm a bit surprised that they didn't continue Courtney in the 22, because that's what he's ran for most of those years at Walkinshaw's. And Scott Pye is going to take number 20 for Team 18. Bit interesting. I would have thought they would have gone for something like 81. Like 17 and 19 not available for them to, kind of one after the other. I suppose 20 is the next one in line, but I would have thought maybe, because it is called Team 18, that, maybe 81, swap around. But, yeah, anyway, sometimes these things don't make sense. I think I'm going to have a bit more of this and get drunk. So until next time, I'll see you later. Let the beast in you just get loose. We all young, wild and different. We can all get lit from a little goose. I know you're terrified by what the future lies, but there's no